We were at NCSD and we did a talk about this, and someone raised their hand and was like, nobody in our state goes online to find sex partners.
I think that one of the main frustrations that I have about the field is how slowly things move. There was a JAMA article that came out that Jeff Klausner out of San Francisco wrote back in 2001 about tracing a syphilis outbreak through cyberspace. Here we are 8 years later, and the field hasn't really moved much further than the recognition that men are meeting other sex partners online, and very few jurisdictions are really doing internet partner services comprehensively. And I think that that's one of the travesties that we're dealing with right now.
We wrote the guidelines and released them, the IPS section, the internet partner section, in 2007, in October 2007, and it's 2009, and not even half the states in the country are doing it.
We have this paradigm of how things used to work, and we're trying to fit that paradigm onto how things are currently working.
There's still a lot of supervisors and higher-ups in the chain that don't think people should be either shouldn't be doing this work, or they aren't giving the go-ahead for this work.
As most people know, government and local state departments of health and others have been slow on the uptake of the internet, and that's where everyone really is now, and the potential is there.
The differences between doing partner notification face-to-face and online is the explicitness of the sex.
When I first saw the actual Manhunt website, I had a preconceived notion of what I was going to see. I wasn't prepared for the graphic and the very explicit and detailed pictures that were on the internet.
The content of the websites and the photos on the home pages and when you log in, and some of the other pictures on the profiles, they are as explicit as they can get.
If you go to somebody's door, they're not actively engaged in a sex act, where you go onto these sex sites, and if you're not comfortable seeing very explicit pictures of sex taking place, it's actually very uncomfortable for a lot of very seasoned DIS who have been doing this for a very long time, and it really throws them off to have to be online looking at very explicit sex pictures.
The first time I logged in, it threw me off, but I got immune to it. And I know that for my job, this is what I'm going to see.
And I wanted to put myself in the place of other individuals that would at one point see this and want them to be prepared, probably better prepared than I was.
I don't know if every department should have all the DIS trained to use the internet and the different profiles that our department uses, or if they should just have one.
Website owners have a different mission. They're in the business often to make money, to help guys meet new partners. Sometimes those are dating partners, sometimes those are one-night stand partners. But whatever their mission is, it's typically not public health, and it's important that we remember that.
To be honest, it terrifies me to have health departments around the country with little to no training go online on some of these sex-seeking venues and provide partner services because of the fear that I have that the people that are going to be doing it are not necessarily going to be trained and are going to make some of the customers or clients upset.
It's one thing to get through to a website owner and allow the work, but it's another thing to win over the community, and that's absolutely what we have to do. To win over that community, once we're in, to win over that community, we have to understand that community and work with people.
All of us face a lot of challenges in this field. Public health departments aren't really sure which interventions are going to be the most optimal, the most popular for everybody. Customers of websites are online, and they may be getting very different interventions from different health departments and different websites. And importantly, website owners themselves get a lot of requests from us in public health departments, and they're not really sure which ones are going to be the most effective or which should they do.
If one or two health departments really make some of these sex-seeking website owners upset, they're just going to decide to kick all of us off the site because they don't want to have to parse out like who's culturally competent and who's not. And I think that stands a real possibility of ruining our reputation with some of the collaborators that we work with pretty closely in the field.
I think in the beginning a lot of places would go on to these websites on the sly and act like they were one of the members to try and figure out who was doing what and if this was the person they were supposed to be reaching. And we later realized pretty quickly that that's not what you want to do. You want to be upfront and honest with what you're doing online. You want to identify yourself as a DIS officer.
I think one of the challenges of that is that people are afraid of new tools. They're afraid of the technology. We're not just working around people who are new to the field. They're not just 18 to 30-year-olds. We have 50 and 60-year-olds in the field who are very used to very traditional systems where you make a phone call, you show up at their home, you send them a letter potentially, depending on where you are. This is one more tool in that tool belt of processes that allow us to get to that end result, which is getting folks treated and then getting their partners informed and potentially treated.
There's a lack of staff. I think a lot of DIS officers are overwhelmed right now with the caseload. And then to add internet partner notification on top of it is just burdensome, so they need more staff. There's the training need. People need to write guidelines in order to get on a lot of these sites to do partner notification. And then there's just flat out denial. I mean, I've talked about this for years now, talking about getting online and doing partner notification, and some states will just blatantly tell you that nobody in their state goes online to find sex partners.
What are some questions to answer? And there's a long list, and hopefully it'll be expanded after I get input from everyone. Are MSM naming the websites as venues of transmission? Do you need to go there? And basically I think the answer is going to be yes for everyone, but it's important to ask. Does this staff person have the technical knowledge to effectively use the internet as a disease intervention tool?
Who is going to be doing this work? Who are the DIS? Who's going to do the supervision?
Is this staff person culturally competent and able to serve online communities in an effective, non-judgmental way?
How are we going to address confidentiality?
Have I engaged and do I have the support of key stakeholders, policy, and the administrative community?
We have no consensus of what we should be doing. We can all what this meeting is going to be really good at is helping us get a better sense of, within partner notification, what makes sense to do. But how do we allocate our time and our resources between outreach, between communications, partner notification, and other strategies as well